Hello everyone, it's Megz again. Honestly, I didn't really want to make this video, but I suggested it to my friends and they told me to do it. And since I'm a man and men keep their words, here we are. Today we're talking about someone who apparently isn't a man, but instead is lesser than one. Yeah, I'm talking about comic creator, aka Kaz worshipper, aka old man with a massive lack of reading comprehension and situational awareness, and lastly, the victim of drip sauce, jazzy, and secret conquest. Now, let's start with this statement over here. Now, he basically argued that Goku was negating Beerus' shockwaves rather than his own, and that Goku later failed to negate Beerus' subsequent Ki blast shockwaves, which eventually reached Earth without destroying the planet. Let's establish the actual sequence of events. The first shockwaves occurred because Goku wasn't properly controlling his newfound power. He wasn't somehow negating Beerus' shockwaves, and to that I say he needs a lot of evidence for that. The clashes themselves were producing the shockwaves because Goku wasn't yet controlling his power properly, nor was he striking with the correct angle and the amount of force, something that Beerus does not have a problem with. He was only matching Goku's pace, because we know he could have ended this battle very easily and very early, but no, he just wanted to fight. And Goku was simply busy learning how to use his new power. Then the shockwaves happened again during a key clash, and that's fundamentally different from two characters exchanging physical punches. With punches, Goku can control the angle, force, and direction of each individual strike. A key clash is an ongoing struggle between two opposing energies where the stronger force ultimately overruns the other. Goku was still trying to nullify the resulting shockwaves, but he couldn't completely do so through the same method he had been using with the punches. That's why after the initial shockwaves, which Goku was actively trying to nullify but couldn't completely suppress, continued to intensify as they traveled. Goku and Beerus changed their approach. They condensed the energy. This is something Dragon Ball demonstrates repeatedly. Characters can concentrate and control enormous amounts of energy without necessarily releasing all of its destructive potential into their surroundings. That's the distinction between attack potency and destructive capacity, and people like Creator apparently struggle to understand. And we literally see the results. Then again, he thinks that attack potency and destructive capacity is a fan fiction. But then again, I might as well show you guys the scene, the entire scene. Obviously, I had to cut certain parts, but I believe you guys got the idea, did you not? Goku and Beerus basically condense the combined energy into a concentrated sphere. That sphere contains the combined power of their clash and is explicitly capable of destroying the universe if it were allowed to detonate and blow up. After it detonates and blows up, Beerus then nullifies the resulting energy, which means Beerus does scale to that power, and consequently Goku scales as well through their clash. And I think I have showed it to you guys. Goku was trying to nullify the shockwaves from the very beginning, but we'll talk about that. Again, he didn't. Again, you guys don't need to some complicated calculations. You just need to actually watch the show. That's it. That's all you need. Not to mention, I believe we have already shown proper evidence of Goku obviously trying to nullify the shockwaves from the very beginning. Now, Creator goes further and claims in this statement here, he argues that Goku only learned how to cancel Beerus' shockwaves, not his own, and that Goku was completely helpless against Beerus' subsequent Ki Blast, which is very stupid, honestly. He then uses Elder Kai's statement, which he takes completely out of context, about the shockwaves becoming stronger with distance, as proof that Goku wasn't managing them with routine control. Now, this is wrong for several reasons. First, we've already established from the actual scene that Goku was actively attempting to nullify the shockwaves from the very beginning. Second, Elder Kai's statement doesn't contradict this. And again, I have showed you guys from the very beginning. In the third clash, Goku says, I did it, as in he was trying, as in proof that he was actively trying to nullify the shockwaves and only has done it at the third clash, where he clearly says, I was hoping to get it by the second try, when he was doing the clash between the two of them. Now, Elder Kai what was Elder Kai describing basically for you all to understand what he could was only describing what he could observe happening with the shockwaves. He didn't initially know that Goku was attempting to nullify them. In fact, he only realized what's happening after the later clash, when Goku successfully neutralizes the shockwaves. After the third clash, and Goku neutralizes the shockwaves, based on his observation, Elder Kai arrived at the conclusion that Goku, hitting Beerus with the correct angle and the amount of power, was able to nullify the shockwaves, which is something that Goku himself acknowledged he was trying to do from the beginning. And Goku himself actually said that he had been trying to nullify them from the very beginning. I showed you guys the scene. Just review it. Just watch the show. So Elder Kai observation doesn't somehow override Goku's own explanation. Unless you want to tell me that somehow Elder Kai was in the fight itself. Now, the reason the Ki Blast shockwave wasn't completely nullified is simple. A continuous Ki struggle isn't the same thing as two physical attacks whose angles and force can be precisely controlled. With the punches, Goku could adjust his strike and cancel the resulting shockwave and manage his own Ki. With the Ki Blast, the two energies were continuously colliding and struggling against one another. Goku, therefore, couldn't simply reproduce this exact method. Instead, he and Beerus ultimately, after struggling with their own in the beam struggle, he and Beerus ultimately condensed the energy, which is why the concentrated sphere appears, because their energies have been hitting each other, and the resulting explosion created the sphere of energy, because they condensed it. So the sequence is this. Physical clash, Goku learns to control the angle and nullify the shock with via Ki control. The Ki clash occurs, the same method doesn't completely work. Goku and Beerus condensed the energy instead, which resulted in that condensed energy ball. That's it. Now some might object and say, if Goku was trying to nullify the chakras from the beginning, how would he know how to do that? But he doesn't have precognition. To that I say, guys, really, do you seriously think Goku needs to see the future to understand that suddenly obtaining an enormous amount of new power that puts him on the level of Beerus, the same Beerus who previously no-diffed him, could cause catastrophic damage if he doesn't control it? Do you guys think that Goku wouldn't be able to know that? The same guy who has more than 40 plus years of experience, the same guy who is basically a master martial artist, Goku cannot know any of this. You guys think that Goku doesn't know any of this? Goku has over 40 years of experience with Ki control. Of course, you would understand that he needs to control the power. In fact, these shockwaves have been happening from the very beginning, ever since the saga, from the very beginning. Take this for example. This happens in the Cell Saga.
したね、ミスター・サタン。うーん。
See everyone. Ever since the Cell Saga, shockwaves have been happening. They have literally been happening. The only difference is that this is a Goku who can control his own power versus a Super Saiyan God Goku who was still learning how to control all it. And that's actually the entire reason why the shockwaves were occurring in the first place. We literally see Goku struggling to control the power he had just received. That's why in the Cell Saga, Goku and the Cell's clash causes shockwaves, but not much destruction action, nor does the shockwave travel further, and Goku in the Battle of Gods causes shockwave is that do travel further and causes destruction. Now why? Because Super Saiyan God is an enormous sudden increase in power, unlike most of Goku's previous power-ups. His other transformations and increases came through training, experience, or emotional boosts that he could gradually adapt to. Super Saiyan God was different. Goku suddenly received a massive increase in power that he had never experienced before, and he clearly tells us that throughout the story. And he was initially struggling to control it. If you actually watch the episodes, if you actually watch the show carefully, we can clearly see Goku who constantly trying to remove the fight away from his own friends, away from Earth, so he doesn't damage it accidentally. And before anyone brings up the creator's claim that Super Saiyan God is only a 50 times multiplier of base, yeah, I'm aware of his argument, but he still has to prove that because this argument is dumb. Because he's essentially arguing that Super Saiyan God has the same multiplier as Super Saiyan. So basically, Goku didn't get stronger at all. So until he actually demonstrates that from the source material, it's nothing more than unsupported assertion. Now, you don't need advanced mathematics or complicated scaling chains for this. You just need to watch the actual show. Just watch the damn thing. That's all. But then again, everyone, are we really surprised? Are we expecting something new? This is the same person who claims that Roshi and Piccolo didn't destroy the moon despite overwhelming evidence saying otherwise from the manga and anime and the Daisenshu itself. But apparently he thinks Kakarot is more authoritative than all of that. Kakarot, which even the producer Yosuke Hara says that it contains non-canon elements. Well, and let's entertain that for a moment. Now, why is Piccolo's supposed moon illusion, because that's the claim here, only mentioned in the Z Encyclopedia but not in the actual game presentation? You see, let's actually address something here. Toriyama's statement about the offering a fresh new take and stories that don't exist in the original manga, that statement was made in the context of gameplay and retelling the story in a different way. Basically, a modern retelling of the original manga as well as side stories. But there is not a single side story that has the moon to be an illusion. Nobody says that. It doesn't establish that Piccolo's moon destruction was an illusion. Nothing about that. In fact, the same Z encyclopedia that mentions the supposed illusion also says the moon was destroyed, which is why Vegeta transformed into a great ape. So the source contradicts itself. And then we have Ryosuke Hara, again, the game producer, explicitly saying that not everything in the game is canon. Yet somehow an animation inconsistency from original Z anime and the Kai anime and a self-contradictory supplementary source are supposed to override the actual narrative, the manga, the anime, and the Daisenshu, as well as the statements of Akira Toriyama himself. For context, the original anime ended back in like 1997, the Z anime. The original the original Kai anime, which covered the Saiyan Cell and the Saiyan Frieza and Cell saga, ended in 2011. There is a statement from Akira Toriyama in an interview where he mentions that the moon has been destroyed twice so far in the series, one by Master Roshi and one by Demon King Piccolo. Nothing about an illusion. He would have contradicted himself here and there. But apparently, the entire mountain of evidence is lying to us, while curator's interpretation is the one thing we should trust. Hmm. Hmm. This is coming from the same guy who claims Akira Toriyama had dementia, something he literally never had. At this point, I have nothing else to say, really. This guy is that dumb. He's that dumb. So, yeah, as you guys saw, the interview that I pulled for you, the one in regards to the moon, is from 2013, way after the first part of Kai that covered the original Saiyan, Cell, and Frieza saga, and even way after the original Z anime. If Akira Toriyama wanted to say it's an illusion, he would have contradicted himself right here and there in that interview of 2013. And Akira Toriyama does not have dementia. It's his policy that he does not remember. He does not want to remember anything after it's done. And this is an interview, and the interview I showed about it is from 2016, as early as possible. But hey, let's give him some like credit here. Maybe there are four galaxies, as he said. Oh wait, wow, oh no, this is from episode number 77. These aren't galaxies. But oh wait, maybe they are nebulas. Oh no, nebulas do not have central bulges like that, so they can't be nebulas. But maybe they are star systems. Oh wait, hold on a moment. Aren't star systems centered around only one star? Why is that star so big that it basically bulges out uh of the disk? That's something that you only see in galaxies. Oh wait, hold on. Maybe they are spiral star systems or solar systems. Oh no. Solar systems and spiral star systems are still centered around only one star that don't bulge out of the disk. Maybe it's a newly formed solar system. Oh no, wait, oh no. It still also doesn't bulge out of the disk. Also, newly formed solar systems do not look like that. But wait, maybe Whis actually said has some.
銀河そして宇宙さえその気になれば世界そのものだってなくしてしまうことが
Hmm. Sorry, buddy. I guess even Whis disagrees with you. He clearly says that these are galaxies. Yeah, I'm sorry, buddy. There's nothing there for you. I'm really sorry, but there is really nothing there for you, man. I would address the essential, but I've already addressed it before in my previous video, so you guys can go watch it. I believe also I did better in the audio of this video as well as better in presentation. Anyway, I'm not gonna be making many more videos about this guy because honestly, I don't care. And if he wants to debate me, and if he makes a video about me or make any statements, I'm not gonna actually respond, whether it's a statement about me or otherwise. Unless, of course, he or his own dick riders like JJ and Matt Wolf wanna debate me individually in a neutral place. Naturally, I'm gonna have Red X there or Jazzy to either record and maybe judge a little bit. But no, maybe just record because these guys don't like having a judge. Either way, I have no intention of responding to them further than that. With that being said, that's all I have to say, guys. Thanks a lot for tuning in and for watching the video up until the end. Anyways, stay safe, stay blessed, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.